Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time, a Wave Sports and Entertainment original presented by Prize Picks. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. It is Foxworth Friday. Domonique Foxworth, what's going on?
Chilling, man. I got a big week ahead. I'm going to a basketball game I'm going to a 2 Chainz concert that the opening act is the Wizards versus the Portland Trail Blazers on Friday.
That's what the Wizards got to do now, huh?
Yeah, that's what they have resorted to. The only other game I went to this year, they did like an old school hip hop thing. I left early before that thing happened. I did run into Rage in the hallway.
The lady of?
Yes. Rock rough and stuff with her Afro puffs.
Still got Afro puffs.
Still had them in.
I feel like she got to, because otherwise, how the fuck am I supposed to know who that is? Yeah, like, she need to show up with her Afro puffs and Slick Rick with the eye patch and the chains. Like, it's just Slick Rick caught a real bad break. Slick Rick went to jail, and by then he had become so well known for the chains that he could not stop. Like, generally speaking, a man like that probably would have evolved into something new and something different. And in the new era of rap, they would have jacked him. But anyway, he couldn't. He got stuck. He got out of jail and had to go get platinum chains because that's what people was doing. He just been in jail.
He could have pivoted to something else, but nah, he had to have a chain and the eye patch because that was all he was known with. Like, I was listening to you and Spencer do your Beyonce thing, and I was thinking about how she has. You were making a very good point about how your fame kind of pigeonholes you and doesn't allow you to do certain things. And she's done as good a job as anyone as being like anyone that level of stardom at still remaining flexible, but there's still some things that you can't do. And my point was going to be that Slick Rick was not on that level. But to the people who were still buying Slick Rick albums, yeah, Slick Rick couldn't change up.
Slick Rick an all-timer. Slick Rick so good, it's ridiculous. And I want to make the note, by the way, just right fast, that Beyonce pigeonholed herself in the way that I was talking about. Don't brand your family. I just don't know how many times we have to explain this to people. Yeah. Do not brand your family, because family is a tricky thing and it ain't always the same. And when you name your tour the Mrs. Carter Tour, now we part of your marriage too. Yeah. At every step. And then she had that dude in that Lemonade video looking like a sack of dirty socks. You remember that? After she had broke his ass all the way down, and then ain't nobody ever been humble more than when that's when you knew he had no leverage in his house at that moment. He showed up in there looking like, I don't understand how he don't look like the Incredible Hulk right now, because I'd have seen myself up there looking like a sack of dirty socks, and I'd have been immediately the best personal trainer that money can buy. Shit, I'd have got on Ozempic if I was him. Whatever it took. But after seeing that, man, please, I would not just be so sure that I could keep my woman. After all that I just went through, I got to show her I care. She be out this motherfucker working out and singing and doing everything to look 10 out of 10. And there you are, looking like dirty socks.
Yeah, poor guy. That was a rough period. But yeah, that
was the roughest period ever.
And I'm sure he was hurting. He had to be hurting. But I guess it doesn't matter.
Hold on. Dominique, think about this 4-year period, okay?
Yeah.
You got, I think it was that 2014 tour. They all did together, and she out here singing X Factor in every city. Okay. So we got that. 2016, the Lemonade thing happened, and now everybody know. You know what I'm saying? It's out there. Now, 2018, y'all decide to go on a tour together, but now everybody know, and ain't nobody come to that concert to see you, Otis. They all came to see her. And guess what? They don't fuck with you no more. Right? They don't rock with you. You there for 70,000 people looking at you like, yep. You know what it is? It's 70,000 of her sister that first Thanksgiving after everything done hit the fan.
I can't imagine how that, but because you're right. They all hated him at that point. And I guess this is, I can't think of anybody else who, Kobe had to buy some jewelry, but I'm sure Hov would have much rather just bought some jewelry than to be out there. I'll buy you I'll buy you some diamonds.
A $4 million ring? That's all? That's all I got to do?
Chump change. But instead, I got to go on my embarrassment tour my apology tour and just be out there in front of all your sisters just getting tomatoes thrown at me. That's rough, man.
Hold up. And he had to make a whole album about it.
Yeah. That's tough. And so this is a new age of celebrity, which I think you and I would agree that you don't have to do it this way, but where everything becomes a reality show. But it kind of reminds me a little bit, to tie to sports in some way, of how what I think LeBron's been doing for at least the last 10 years is giving us something to talk about, because we're going to talk about him anyway. Where it's like, all right, I'm going to give you, maybe it's not as calculated, but it seems like when he's doing this stuff, passive aggressive stuff, that he can't be surprised by the reaction. So he must want the reaction, right?
Yeah. Speaking of LeBron, and this is turned into a meandering sort of program because I think it's just going to be one of those days.
Yeah.
Did you see that Vanna doing a podcast? Savannah James is going to do a podcast, and I've seen two things about it. I think it starts on April 30th, but the first trailer or whatever they put out, it's her and some woman named April. I don't know anything about the woman, so I'm not going to say more because she could be like super duper famous, and I just simply have no clue, right? Anyway, it ends with state, what's your name and state you're crazy. And I was like, oh goodness, what is this? Okay, so the podcast is called Everybody's Crazy. I don't think that's a good idea for anybody involved. I could be. Somebody said on Twitter, this whole generation gonna get took down by a microphone.
Savannah, like, she has been a hero to many. In part,
to men, particularly.
Yeah, in part. And I mean, a lot of women too, for like,
yeah.
But yes, specifically to men, for not appearing like she's trying to be something or trying to springboard off of LeBron. And it's like the opposite of what people see in the Curry relationship. And they always seem like it's interesting, because I always assumed that Savannah don't want the fame that come with it. Like, she enjoys the life, obviously. And I don't know, because she don't say nothing. She don't do nothing. But it always seemed like, yeah, this comes with it, but I don't really want this. So this is shocking to me that all of a sudden she don't need no podcast. Podcasts don't make money like that. But I mean, everyone needs something to do, like some motivate them to get up. The kids are getting older. Maybe this is what she wanted to do, but it just seems surprising and unusual to me. And then to talk about crazy.
I don't know what that's going to mean, right? Like, that could mean a lot of things. Now, to be fair to all parties involved, okay, she got like an Instagram account and all of that stuff. And you really can't name that many wives of NBA players that are that well known and that out there, right? Like, ain't that many Mikos. I love Miko. Miko cool with me, but it ain't that many Mikos out here in the NBA, Steves, or maybe we just don't be paying attention to them, right? But it feels like it ain't that many of them. Like, people have Instagrams, they do whatever. But the bottom line is, everybody got a podcast right now. Like, they all trying to get like your boy. I understand it's the but I think it's an important factor. Like, I talked about this a little bit when we talked about the athletes doing podcasts when I was at South by Southwest. They look up, like, the same way people look up to the folks on YouTube. They look up to the YouTubers. I mean, like, people grew up wanting to be on TV, right? But now they got the YouTubers and all this stuff and all these podcasts. People want to get like that. People, I think the internet has shown us, social media in particular, has shown us that people like being the person that other people listen to. Right. Like, people will tell me the podcast that they do and the numbers that they get, and they're so happy with it. And we do this on a different scale, so it's kind of hard for me to grasp. But I know a lot of people out here, they got 20, 30 people listening to podcasts, and they do them every week. Yeah. They just want to do it. Yeah. And I guess she's just like everybody else. Yeah.
She's not, though.
and see, that's where we get to that place. But you're not just like Eric. Look, I didn't think, and the numbers seem to be great on it, but I didn't think LeBron and JJ talk about dorky basketball stuff was the greatest idea. Like, everybody says they want more true basketball talk. I'm like, yeah, but that ain't what they meant. You know what I'm saying? But they get numbers. Like, I look on YouTube, they get huge numbers. So maybe I'm wrong, right? And so maybe it's people that want to hear this. And I bet that Savannah could probably get an audience that'll listen to it of women, because that's the trick bag. If you are a woman and you're known for sports, getting an audience for that kind of stuff, I'm very curious how you pull that off, because the people who know who you are ain't trying to hear that. right? But Savannah, she got a different kind of famous. Maybe she pull it off.
Yeah, it might work. I'm not here to argue whether it work or not. And like, you have to grab attention. So I assume that's what the crazy stuff is about. I don't imagine that they're going to be talking about like real, like crazy, but she's going to use that to springboard into other things. I think the interesting thing to that or about that to me, and I'm hoping whoever she has on with her is like, that seems like we're getting into psychology, which is everybody is an amateur like psychologist at this point, and everyone is able to diagnose their traumas and other people's traumas and the result of the trauma, what's causing you to behave this way. Like, I'm sure that I'm guilty of it sometimes too, but I also know that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, and neither do you. Like maybe some people just messed up. It's not because of this, that, and the other thing, or they not trying to get some validation from you and all this other complicated stuff. But it's entertainment, I guess. I have to remember that also, is it don't have to be right if it keeps people engaged.
Yeah, but it's not going to be good for those people who still read the public Twitter timeline. You're going to hear from a lot of dummies on this one. The clips going to be getting clipped out. The thing's going to be getting aggregated. I don't get the feeling this was LeBron's idea. Like, I would be curious to see who the production company is on it, because if it's not nothing associated with no Spring Hill or no Uninterrupted or anything else, that means LeBron might have found out about this the same time we did. He might be just like you. Like, what you mean Savannah doing a podcast?
Nah, that's got to be through LeBron. Like, you don't have a choice. If I was LeBron and I found out it was elsewhere, I'm like, no, we're going to bring this under the umbrella. We have to bring this under the umbrella. Like, we ain't going to look like we separated. And also, I'm going to need to get a quick listen for this go out on the streets. I can't have just anything going out on the streets.
He gonna try. Like, let me tell you this is funny about that too. We talk about this as it affects LeBron. It's one thing about, your wife about to do a podcast, but hey, there's a boy in high school who mama about to do a podcast. A boy in college who mama about to be doing a podcast. Yeah. Hey man, y'all gotta live, right? Mama gotta live too, right? Mama gotta have a life, but I can see a lot of directions, because also we don't know anything about her. Nothing. I have no idea what she thinks about the world. Nothing. I don't know what her voice sounds like. No. I don't know any of these things. We about to learn.
Them poor kids, man. Well, not poor. They definitely are poor, but
they're not poor.
I don't know. And this is speculation, but I imagine that there are going to be some interesting things. Like, she going to talk about the things that every now and then, if she don't in the first 2 episodes, them numbers going to dip, and they're going to be like, hey, look here, this is what we going to have to do. And they're going to talk about some things that them boys, and well, the little girl is different, but them boys don't want to be talked about. So yeah, good luck to them. I'm sure that they don't need it, but they want it. Nah, more power to them. Do what you got to do.
LeBron laying up in bed. So, what y'all about to be talking about this week? What y'all got on the show? Oh, you're gonna talk about the new Beyonce, huh? Oh, okay.
I mean, the relationship point is a big one. Like, I have my wife on my podcast pretty regularly, and we had a conversation before it started. So, like, the first time I had her on there was like the first couple episodes, I felt uncomfortable, and I asked her to come on the podcast. So I was like, I want to have people on there who make me feel comfortable. I'm comfortable now, but that particular segment's been pretty good. We keep it going, but we were very clear. We ain't talking about no real shit on here. This is not for real life. If you got an issue with me, I better not be finding out about it while we sitting on them black couches and the cameras is rolling. But it's all, like it's the same thing with social media. And this is, I think, a different step for different people. And I think we're both of the generation where, like, social media is real, but it ain't real. Like, I'd be really concerned if the way that my wife was choosing to communicate with me, and I'm sure lots of people in relationships are like sending subliminal shots to each other. Like, I'd be damned. You got something to say. We get to, like, and I ain't saying it like I'm some tough guy, like, come, but like, them, you want them involved in this? All of them?
Right.
Like, you got an issue.
Like, they know what you're talking about, right?
And the only reason why you would be doing this, and this is back to LeBron, like, we know what he talk about. And if I was his teammates, when he do the subliminal stuff, I'm like, why we got to include everybody?
Like, hey, my brother, you want to go outside for a second? We can talk.
Yeah.
Since you want everybody to hear, let's go do it outside, dog.
But yeah, different strokes,
Talk that
different
slick shit
folks.
right here. Talk that slick shit out here, dog.
Sorry about my voice. I'm coaching again.
One last thing, because we want to get to that. You know how LeBron be going dark off the internet, at least the way he say during the playoffs. Like he go dark. Playoffs right around the corner. That podcast just getting off the ground. If he do really go dark, it might be it's like yo, Mama's out of town. We about to have a party.
Well, he won't have to go dark for that long, it appears. My man gonna be back on these social streets real quick because
yo, man,
getting out of round one if they get out the play in.
They rolling right now though. They won like 8 out of 9 or something like that. I told you I was there on Sunday.
Okay.
I was there on Sunday when he went Jordan against Portland, and he just was hitting everything. They was just toying with them boys. It was, again, who plays for the Nets? Great question.
Yeah.
Fantastic question. Like, if you can name 5 Nets, you gamble too much. That's all I know. You ain't even from Brooklyn. It ain't got nothing to do with that. You need to call that phone number, right? Like you know that many Nets, you need to call that phone number. But yeah, I still have a hard time imagining they're going to be at it too long. But I heard people say this earlier in the year and I thought it was crazy, but I think there's something to it. If somehow they wind up in a situation where they can play against the Thunder in the first round, they might be cooking with gas if that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think they'd be better off against the T-Wolves, assuming Cat's not 100%. But, like, the Thunder, the T-Wolves, and the Nuggets are all, like, grouped together at the top there. What they really don't want is to see them Nugs again. So if the Nuggets get the 1 seed, it's over.
They don't want those problems. I was going to say, though, the Timberwolves might be a good chance. Look, here's the issue with the Timberwolves, all right? By the way, the Timberwolves are 25-13 on the road, just in case you're curious. As of this moment, I don't know if they play the night of this taping. No, they don't. Cool. This will still hold. The thing about the Timberwolves is they are counting on 2 guys who may be suckers, right? Like, I want to be careful about being too declarative about calling nobody a sucker because I think that's a really harsh and strong thing to say about somebody, right? But they got a couple dudes that all of us deep down kind of either we wonder if they suckers or we're pretty sure they're a couple of suckers, right? And leaning on 2 suckers is a lot. Like we are asking Anthony Edwards to potentially overcome 14 feet of suckers. And one of them suckers always want the ball more. Oh, God. And the other one don't want to be 7 feet tall. Alleged suckers, potential suckers.
They possibly, but they some big suckers. And the one thing
they are some big, but one of them, it don't matter if you big if you act like you not.
Yeah, but he's still big. I get you. I know the big man versus tall man thing, but being a tall man is still a value. The only reason I bring it up is because the one thing that the Lakers have is size. Like that's the thing that people point to is size. That's their advantage. You don't have that advantage against the T-Wolves. So like, I don't know. If you think you can punk them out of the playoffs, that's one thing, or you can play Towns off the floor, or not Towns. You can play Gobert off the floor. I don't know if they have the shooting to pull that off, but I just don't believe in the Lakers in any way. I think I believe in the Wolves with a healthy Cat, no matter whether they are alleged suckers or not, more than I do the Lakers at this point. Either way, that team and that player are only here for championships, the Lakers and LeBron, and they ain't doing that this year. So if they get out the first round,
fair.
They won't get out the second.
Fair. There's been a real question, though, about are they better playing Nas Reed than playing Karl Towns, no matter what you think of either of them as an individual player. It's just about how they are. And the question becomes, is Karl Towns one of those dudes that if you have him in the playoffs, it matters no matter the sum of the parts, right? Like some guys, whatever happens in the regular season, that's fine, but this dude can go out here and get you a bucket. And can Karl be that dude, not just the guy that can get you a bucket, but will go get you a bucket? That becomes the question. Is he that, or, is he a sucker? And I guess there's room in between those two places, but we gonna find out which way he leaning.
I don't know. I am speaking of suckers. I'm still a sucker for a big man who can shoot, and I get all the problems that come with it. Get him out, especially when you have brought in a big man who can protect the rim. So, like, I get you. I understand all the points that are being made, but he can still shoot, and he's still gonna be a matchup problem, which to me, like, is a huge value. It's maybe not going to win a championship. I get all that. Maybe he's not the true number one, but he offers value that I think needs to be appreciated. That's all.
I'm just saying, it don't matter if he's 7 feet tall, just like it don't matter. Kristaps Porzingis could be 6'11". It don't matter. He'd be the same exact dude.
I feel like I got into this with Marcus Spears early in the season, and this feels like the classic run the ball versus passing the ball. And sometimes
I'm here for running the ball.
I know. I was gonna say sometimes I am a sucker for these modern contraptions when football is sometimes about, as our man Marshawn Lynch put it, sometimes football is about running through a motherfucker's face. and I fell into that trap early this season. Me and Marcus were talking about the Cowboys, and he, in so many words, was saying, but can they run through motherfuckers' faces? And I was like, well, I don't know. They may not need to because Dak can just... Nah. Yeah, at some point, you got to run through a face.
Marshawn Lynch sat there in that chair, and you do it over and over and over again. Some people not going to want to keep doing that. And then that man said 2 words, and out of nowhere, run through a motherfucking face.
The best part was, I don't remember exactly how the interviewer worded it, but he was kind of like, is that a metaphor for something else? I was like, huh?
And he jumped in, run through a motherfucking face.
Like, no, metaphors, I'm not doing something artistic here. We ain't building like, I'm not trying to allude to anything. This is not any more complicated than you make it sound. Like, no, I'm serious. Like, I actually literally mean run through his face. And I was with the interviewer, was like, yeah, that could be a deep metaphor for something more. And it probably is, but Marshawn don't know and he don't care, and neither do that linebacker whose face just got ran through.
No, he knows if it's a metaphor, but that ain't what he's talking about right now. Right? Like, he is very aware of what a metaphor is. Yeah. He knows what you talk about. But that ain't got nothing to do with the right here and the right now. Right now, I'm talking about running through people's faces. Now, we got a little time before we go to this break, but I want to throw this in right quick just because I saw it before we got out here, and we don't have to go about it long. I just want to know if you know that a dude that averages 5 points a game for his career on Wednesday night put up 50.
What?
Off the bench. Malachi Flynn, who, from what I can tell, looked more like a Malachi than a Flynn in the guise of Isaiah Hartenstein. He came off the bench and scored, how many points is this? 50 in a loss because he plays for the Pistons. It was a loss to the Hawks. And he averaged 5.2 points a game for his career.
Oh, shout out. I see. He's definitely from the Hartenstein, the Bumpy Johnson crew. He's part of that crew. But I thought we fixed this. Didn't they have a secret meeting
I did
over
too.
All-Star
that
break?
Was my thought.
It fixed this. It stopped all the foul calls.
That was my thought.
Oh gosh.
I thought they fixed it. And look, let me tell you something bad. And this is just me, okay? And maybe this is being from a different generation. Maybe this is me being something between being a sore loser and a sucker. I'm not sure. The Hawks are going to be in the play-in game. They're going to play against the Bulls in that bottom part of the play-in game. And maybe if they win another game, they go to the playoffs, okay? But we know what is going to happen to them. And all I'm saying is I just don't understand this world where some dude named Malachi Flynn put up a 50 ball on you, and not once does anybody take his ass to the ground.
You are from a different era if you are expecting that to happen in the modern NBA. We hit on a lot of the same themes sometimes, and this is all tied into the professionalization of all this sports and everybody being the same. Like there's no room on the roster for a guy to do that. Like it wasn't Jordan. It wasn't Jordan that was gonna go tighten somebody up who needed to be tightened up. It was Oakley on those early Bulls teams that was going to go tighten somebody ass up. Show me the guy on any roster. The closest we got to it is Draymond, and Draymond is, he's a skilled.
Yeah, but he don't really be tightening nobody up.
Agreed. Right? That's why I said that's the closest we got to it.
Yeah. Like I get you because like the skill level of the game has improved, and there are a lot of guys who were there, like their job was to do that, right? I feel you. I just don't understand why there ain't nobody out there who do it for the love of the game. Like that's where my confusion is. Like, did you see on Wednesday night the hockey game where I think it was the Rangers and the Islanders, the Rangers and somebody.
Devils,
anyway, 4 minutes into the game, everybody was fighting. 4 seconds into the game, rather. All the skaters were fighting. That's the love of the game right there.
It's not. So either it's in you or it's ain't. And this is the reason why I said that this relates to professionalization of the game is because this goes all the way back to AAU. Like guys who were in the NBA and when we were growing up did not grow up in this circuit where they were being professionals and they did not have.
You're right.
So like no one makes it to the NBA with that. If you have that in you, and somewhere along the line, they go buff that out of you or get you out of the system. Ain't nobody in the NBA who does not have, and I guess we're talking about a couple different things because it's not being out of control. It's like a calculated decision, like this is now my job. No, nobody in the NBA now had that as a occupation when they was coming up. Hockey is different.
Yes.
Hockey has that.
Right. But I guess what I'm saying, even with the NBA, I feel like there's a series of if-then statements that somebody would jump in and decide to strategically impart into what they doing, right? Like if I take this motherfucker out, then he won't just keep hitting layups on us at will, right?
But in the modern NBA, if I take this motherfucker out, then Adam Silver coming from my pockets.
I know, but you telling me there's a league full of dudes with good judgment? They gotta be more than one. What's my man's name? Isaiah Stewart.
Oh gosh, Isaiah Stewart. Woo. LeBron cut him open.
He the new Charles Oakley. he the one that carried beef. He bring old beef back.
And where is he now?
I mean, he's still in the league.
If I remember correctly, he did a little bouncing back and forth, right? Yeah, and then.
No. He the young boy in Detroit that tried to fight LeBron that time.
Yeah, it was he was trying to. I thought that he had to.
Yo, he saw his own blood, and that
was that the old Simpsons joint. No one's ever made me bleed my blood or something like that.
Yeah, but he ain't bouncing around. He just played for the Pistons.
Oh, I thought he had to go. I thought he had to do a little stint at the lower levels after he got bloody. But anyway.
No. They might have told him to sit his ass down. Like
we don't celebrate it. The Malice of the Palace was the final nail in the coffin where we don't celebrate it. Hockey, we all laugh and we say it's cool. And they keep developing
we'd celebrate it more if we saw it more. Like, it need to make a comeback.
But we don't see it more because when somebody do it, we jump on them like, hey, it's out of control.
Nah, that's because we ain't got their backs.
True.
Like, if they do it and we just come out here and we like, yo, that's what the people want. We want to see them scrap it out. Like, I don't know why the NBA ain't tried. Every time things start slipping for NASCAR, you know what they do? They start fighting again. I don't know if it makes the ratings better, but it don't make nobody upset. It don't mess anything up for anybody. Man, the white folks that care about that ain't even watching the NBA no more.
Yeah, I can't see any difference between NASCAR, hockey, and basketball. There's no difference between the way that aggression would be interpreted. I don't know that it's about the white folks that are watching as much as it's about the white folks that are signing these sponsorship contracts, like being.
Yeah, well, get some new sponsorships. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the NBA already got a sponsorship from Hennessy. Motherfuckers be fighting off Hennessy all the time. By the way, right fast, before we go in this break, I didn't realize this about Isaiah Stewart. He went to Washington, but the other finalists to land him were Kentucky, Michigan State, Syracuse, and Duke. And I just can't begin to tell you my level of disappointment that this boy did not go to Duke. Can you imagine? Like, we'd have all been if Duke had their own Ivan Johnson, we'd have all been torn up about how we were supposed to feel about that.
Oh, gosh. I can't even imagine it. Oh, man. Like, him doing all that in a Duke jersey would have been fantastic. Shout out to Isaiah.
Oh, my God. Oh, well, I mean, how long would he have been in that Duke jersey?
Not very long. Good for him. Well, we take it upon ourselves.
Whoa, hold on. Counterpoint. Mike Krzyzewski love a little edge. Yeah. Like Krzyzewski out here for us. Like, he wow, he don't normally want that gangster, but he, back in the day, they was kind of gangster with
They
it.
definitely were. But I mean, we got a champion, Isaiah Stewart. If we want more of him in the league, then it's our responsibility to celebrate a guy like that.
I know I'd love to, but he got to stop. He got to stop stealing on, like, he stole on that man in the tunnel and that man called the cops. You know what? I'm still real hard on him about calling the cops, because I talked to somebody who knows these things. They put it squarely on Eubanks, calling the cops, like demanding that the cops get involved. But it sounded like it was on site. Like Isaiah, and not just on site from anybody, on site from somebody cuckoo enough to do it every time.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, not cuckoo. Like, you can't say cuckoo. If you would like to encourage these types of characters to find their way back in the game, you got to be thorough enough. You got to put a positive spin on it. I am not advocating for more Isaiah Stewarts. I'm good with the level of beef that we got in the game. But if you want some more...
No, more beef, more beef, more beef, more beef, more beef, more beef. More beef. I want overseas beef. I want domestic beef. Like, I want Vic and Rudy to get into it so bad. Rudy would whoop his ass, but I want them to get into it so bad. Like, everybody talk. Rudy, what would come out of Rudy if Vic tried to fight him? Because Vic be disrespecting Rudy. What would come out of Rudy if Vic tried to fight him? Rudy would have that dude on the ground by the neck.
Oh, man. I was thinking about how funny it would be to see those two fight, but I think it'd be funnier to see him and Chet fight. Like, have Victor...
Oh, no. I think Rudy's funny.
You think so?
What's your Chet argument?
Well, it's just Rudy has been in the league long enough to fill out a little bit. So I'm just talking about two big, long stick bugs.
Oh, the gangliness.
Yeah, just two freaking praying mantises just going at it.
It would be Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, where you could both use the same dude and Yoga Flame.
Dowsing versus Dowsing.
It would just be Yoga Fire and them long arms and legs at each other the whole time. How you say Yoga Flame in Francais? How you do that?
I never realized the contradiction. You man saying yoga and shooting fireballs at people, and also... Ain't that about being serene and peaceful? It's like, Yoga Flame. And then stretch that long-ass Victor arm for a punch. No,
but for me, the idea of Rudy fucking around and turning green and going Hulk, yo, did not know he had it in him. Did not know it. Like, how do you say, what the fuck did you just call me in French?
He took his country, man. And then he came over here and took America from him before he got here.
And by the way, we'll take our sales break in a second. I don't know if you've been paying attention to Vic lately, but he gonna be a problem in the Olympics. The Olympics are gonna be the big Vic coming out party. Just you wait.
Yeah, I mean, y'all, everybody else, you got a couple more years left. So they put one person next to Vic that can ball. It's gonna be trouble.
Or just pass the fucking ball. March is over, but the biggest moments in college basketball tip off the month of April. Be a part of the action on Prize Picks for both men's and women's college basketball. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with basketball, hockey, and college basketball entries today on Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Prize Picks is really simple to play. You can make your picks and submit your entry in less than 60 seconds. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. So make sure you go to prizepicks.com/Bomani and use code Bomani for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks/Bomani. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. How's your social battery right now? Has the mad dash to start the new year both professionally and socially exhausted you? It can be easy to ignore our social battery and spread ourselves thin, especially as social gatherings pick up with the nicer weather. How do you take care of your social battery? Is it setting more boundaries to make more time for yourself? Therapy can give you the self-awareness to build a social life that doesn't drain your battery. Therapy can help give you the balance you need in your life to maintain a healthy lifestyle. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Celebrate the progress you've already made. Visit BetterHelp.com/Bomani today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Bomani. Let's talk hydration. You chugging water throughout the day or periodically having a glass? Hydration is really important for a healthy lifestyle. And if you use Liquid IV, which has 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, plus 8 vitamins and nutrients for everyday wellness, you can hydrate even faster. Liquid IV is super easy to use. Just take a pre-measured packet and pour it into a glass of water, mix it up, and enjoy. You can take it at home before you start your day or take it with you to work or the gym. Plus, with their roster of flavors, which includes my favorite, lemon lime, you can easily find the right flavor for you and your taste buds. However you hydrate, grab Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier sugar-free in bulk nationwide at Costco, or get 20% off your first order when you go to liquidiv.com and use code BOMANI at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code BOMANI at liquidiv.com. All right, so Domonique Foxworth is back to coach the youngsters. You were coaching your son in flag football the second year you were doing this, and you were saying before we came on that your voice is a little hoarse because y'all are taking a bit of a different approach. And is that to say that all your you're becoming someone you didn't think you would?
Know how it goes. You have a disappointing season, you might need to get rid of that player's coach. So, as you can hear, last year, I coached a team like I was coaching a bunch of my kids' friends, or excuse me, a bunch of my friends' kids, which essentially like I've been around these parents for a while. And I also coached a team the way that I think I wanted a team coached. It was like, we going to have fun. Everybody going to play. Everybody going to have a good time. Let's not worry about the outcome. Then we get to the end of the year and we lose in the game just before the championship game, and all the boys are crying. And I told them, it's like, hey, I asked y'all, beginning of the year, how you want this to go? Y'all want to practice like you want to win, or you want to practice like you want to have fun? And they showed through their efforts that they want to practice like they wanted to have fun. And we got our ass beat. So this year, I came out there and we asked them off top, what y'all trying to do? It's like, that was my first time coaching. I learned some things about coaching. What y'all trying to do? They said they trying to win. And I was like, all right. So we ain't having all this like walking, none of that. We're going to be tight on all of our things. So we had one practice yesterday, and some asses needed to be got into early on for these 11-year-olds. And then I climbed into them, and then I climbed out. And I got to be honest, they responded. That boys was on point the whole practice. After the first little speech where I was like, look, my football career is over. I'm happy with how mine went. This is yours. This is yours. So you decide. Like, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to be overly happy if we win the championship. I'm going to feel good about what we've accomplished. But I'm not going to. Did y'all see me shed tears last year? Yeah. No, not one. Because this ain't like my shit is done. This is for you. So they took control. They was getting on each other about being on their assignments, whatever. I was proud of them.
Dun, dun, dun. That's good. They was making it happen. They out there, they showing a little focus.
Absolutely. For an hour and a half, they was focused the whole time. I was proud of them. But yeah, I did lose my voice, got my livelihood in jeopardy hollering at these boys.
Went the distance, now I'm back on my feet. They coming, man. They coming. They about to do this. I want to see the montages. I want to see them down there doing the push-ups on their knuckles. You know what I'm saying?
I just was thinking as cliches were flowing out of my mouth, how, and you've made this point before about how we don't respect old people nearly as much as we should. And I was just like, just about everything that I was told by old people my whole life, now that I'm becoming an old person, I was like, oh, they were right.
Yes.
There are no shortcuts.
Yes.
Like, yeah, you do have to shut the fuck up sometimes. Like, these are all things that, whereas when you're playing or you're practicing or you're going through this stuff where you're like, man, Don't worry about it. We gonna be all right. Like, you ain't gotta be such a hard ass who let this or that slide. No, you can't. You can't let any of it slide. And now I'm a coach and I hate myself.
Nah, man, look here. I ain't gonna lie. I'm at this point now where these youngsters be coming up here calling me old, and they think that that's insulting. And I'm just like, I'm becoming this person. I got homies that wish they could say they was old, but they can't say they old because they dead.
You know why they did?
I am fortunate.
Because they did not respect these rules that I'm trying to impart on you.
Yes. Some of them just cause some bad luck, right? Some of them did some things wrong. But in the end, I am fortunate to be this age. I am fortunate to have made it to 40 years old. I know a lot of people who did not. And these little young, boy, they gonna learn. That like I just spend so much time now, just gotta be like, A, okay, now you gonna learn. And two, is my generation so desperately pathetic about trying to stay cool that I look like the Herb these days? You know what I'm saying? Like, do I just look like a super old man because I ain't trying to dress like them? Right? Because I ain't got no funny looking hoodie on. I don't really know, but I can't believe I have reached this point. I don't even wear slacks. You know what I'm saying? I don't be wearing shoes that's hard on the bottom.
Why?
But this is what I got to deal with.
I told you about that Watkins Award thing that I did a while ago. And one of the things that I told those boys is like, to be able to learn without experience is like a real gift. And to be able to have somebody tell you something and you actually be able to internalize it, because we hear stuff all the time, like especially with social media, you'll get like these inspirational insights or like what this person learned from this experience, but it's really hard to implement it in your life until you get burned. And I think that's the thing, is like you mentioned before that we got a marketing issue as far as old people is concerned, is like we know the answers to things for people who are 10, 15 years younger than us. But the way we sell it to them is like, all right, fine, I'm going to tell you, but if you don't listen to me, you're going to learn eventually. And they are not able to absorb it. Some of them are, but there has to be another way to teach it, I guess.
I look back, and now that I think about it, I can only think of one thing a seemingly old at the time person ever told me that I look back on and was like, yeah, they tripping. By and large, no matter how rude they were about it, no matter how wrong, because like my dad always would come up at times that was necessary, right? Like he could glean that, okay, you might get this wrong, but it ain't gonna mess you up too bad or whatever. But my dad would be like, hey, I want to talk to you about something right fast. You know, like, I don't think you should marry that girl. Sounds like I shouldn't, because he would not pop up and offer this opinion unless it had been very, very, very well considered, right? Yeah. He was just kind of like, just kind of look at how things go, and like, I just don't think you might like. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't look back on anything that my pops ever came and imparted upon me and had to be like, him be like, oh, okay, I guess you was wrong, right? Like, I mean, or me have to say that, like, it hasn't been that case. I think I told you the only time somebody old-headish told me something that I look back on, and it sounded ridiculous then, and it sounds ridiculous now, and I was out once, and I had dinner. It's when I first started working, like for real, for ESPN, is when I first moved to Miami. So, I'm finally getting a little money, right? Like, it ain't all the money in the world, but it was like 10 times, it was 20 times what I was making 4 years before. Literally, right? So I'm feeling good about it. I'm talking to somebody kind of established in the game, and he's like, look, I bought this house, and when I was buying it, another established cat in the game told him, don't buy the house you can afford, buy the house you want. And he's like, don't worry about it, because the money's going to come. And I have to tell you, and it was a black person who told me this, and I was like, what kind of white man just invaded your soul before you told me that crazy shit? This white man told you that and you believed it. He said he didn't believe it, and then he regretted it because he then could have just got the house he wanted. And brother, it wouldn't have worked out that way for me. My shit was not a straight line. My shit was not a rocket ship, okay? It was a little up. It was a little down. I don't know where it is right now. Don't buy the house you could afford. Buy the house that you want. How about I just don't buy a house?
I hope he was not on his Marshawn Lynch and this was like a metaphor for something else, because who gives advice like that? Like, that's not even career advice. It's like, first of all, and
rich people. That's who gives advice like that.
I am past the point. I'm not completely immune from like wanting to keep up from the Joneses or keep up with the Joneses or wanting to show off a little bit, but I'm pretty far past it. Like I ain't in no rush to get a new car. And I mean, my house is honestly, everything in my house is more for my wife and my kids than me. I got my little bit of things that I like. And I've come to understand that no, I'm able to afford the house that we bought, but we don't need this big ass house. I've been perfectly fine if we did buy this big ass house. I kept some more money in my pocket. Like, that's just the shittiest advice you could ever give somebody. The right advice is, you know what? Ultimately, all you really need is a TV, Wi-Fi, and some people who give a shit about you. Like, that's real advice. Yeah. You, at no point has anybody ever been like, I mean, that's that deathbed test. No one's ever looked back on their deathbed and be like, man, sure wish I had that extra bedroom. It's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. But bruh, I got to tell you this. I am a bit immune to the keeping up with the Joneses, right? Number one, I'm the Jones.
I knew that was coming.
But it's the other part. And it's something you and I have discussed before. And I understand that this might sound a little trite to some. It may seem crass to others. It may seem self-absorbed to many people. But it's the bottom line. And that's to say, baby, I was pulling them when I was dead broke. Dead broke. And I understand for you, pulling them ain't really a game no more, but the moral of the story still is that, like, that was what I needed. That if there was any time to be trying to keep up with the Joneses, it was that. If I was still achieving success over here on with a minimalist approach, whatever, y'all got this. Like, all that, to me, all that chasing is for dudes who can't pull. And please understand, dudes who can't pull terrify me. They are responsible for the majority of the terribleness and evilness in this world. If you go look around and see what it is, what's really messing up the game is dudes that can't pull, right? At every turn, they the ones shooting up the mall. They the ones blowing up stuff. They the ones, like, all these things, right? Like, we know this very clearly. They are the problem, okay? I am not them. Thereby, I'm not blowing a bunch of cash to try to keep up with these other
I had the same car.
Those two things had nothing to do with each other. I just realized in the final article. Neither here nor there.
I mean, I still like to be, I don't know, like sometimes you like to just stun on people a little bit. I don't have it. I get that inclination, but like I've had the same car for a while. It's pretty old. It's like 12 years old now. It's still running. It's a nice car, but like, that's the thing. What you need a fancy car for, and some people are into cars. I'm not into cars like that. So if I'm not into cars, only reason why I need a fresh ass fancy car is so when I pull up, they look at me. I don't need that temptation in my life. Don't come holler at me.
I can't lie. On the car front. So when I was in Miami, I moved down to Miami. Okay, so give you some steps. All right. In the year 2009, your boy was making $39,000 a year, right? It's not a lot of money, as you may know. All right. A couple years later, I started doing the around the horn work, and I get a check every time I did around the horn. And so all these other cats, because they had wives and families and lives and husbands and stuff like that, right? They would be like, oh, I could only do a couple days this week, whatever. I could do every day. So I was just racking up them checks. So I finally got some money and I decided I wanted a nice car and not a new car, right? Because new cars cost too much money. So I remember I took $14,000 cash and I went and got myself an Acura RL to have, because I had my nice car. It had the leathers, the seats heated up, but it was at an odd period in stereo situation. So I couldn't get my MP3 on like I probably wanted. But anyway, I had decided at that point I was going to come up in about a year and I wanted to stay with this car. So I didn't do nothing stupid. So I had the Acura. I took it to Miami. And I'll be honest with you, I might as well have been riding a bicycle down the street as far as stunting in Miami goes. I knew I was not going to be stunting, but I didn't quite realize what it was going to be, right? I'm coming to work, Dan pulling up every day in the drop top Benz or whatever. And Miami, man, it's a different car world because they be stealing down there. So everybody just got a car. And so I admit, I did feel like this is how the game is played here. I needed to get me a car just to let people know I'm here. That's all, right? I'm here. I mean, and so I got the car. It was if you know, you know sort of thing, right? It was a BMW M4. It wasn't like, oh my God, it's going to stop how you look at me the whole way, but it lets you know I'm here. Now, for a weekend, I drove a BMW i8. Did I ever tell you about that?
Ooh, no.
Oh, ho, 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 ho. This is story time, but this is story time with Bomani Classic. So BMW was doing some event and they let you come like try out all the cars. This is before I had the M4. So it was like M4, a M5, a M6, and they had an i8. And they set up at this racetrack in Hialeah, and everybody would get the car and you get to go drive around and just see how they handled and all of that stuff, right? And something happened and I wasn't able to spin around in the i8. But Buddy that was running the event, we had been talking to them about maybe doing some kind of deal, right? And he was like, well, yo, why don't you come back on Sunday and you can drive the i8 around for the afternoon? And I was like, oh, don't mind if I do. So I called my homeboy Dexter, my good friend from college. He was in law school in Miami at the time. And I called him and I'm like, hey, man, I'm about to have this i8. You try to spin around? He's like, hell yeah, I'm trying to spin around. Bro, I went and got that i8. And I went to go pick him up. And what was the first thing that we did? Stand in the parking lot of his apartment complex, having his wife take pictures of us. We was out in that motherfucker looking like we was rappers. We was taking pictures like this with our backs turned to each other, right? Like I got like taking videos and he telling his wife to get everything set up. And he country like he from Jackson, Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? So we just out here, we in the front of the car to the tune of Mary J. like, perpetrate, because we was perpetrating. Like the whole name of the game that day was we about to be out here perpetrating. I'm so excited that I got a loud environment notification on my watch. All right, so we decided we was perpetrating. Bruh, I was like, I don't even know where we need to go with this car because he lived way off in the cut. And I knew exactly where he was going. Where do you go to show off your car? You damn right, man. We went to the mall, dog. So we got up in the car. We in the i8. And if you ain't, look up the i8 if you've never seen it.
When it first came out, it looked like a spaceship too compared to other cars. That was great.
It was when it first came out. It was like 2015, I want to say. So like it was new. And so, dog, I'm on the freeway in this i8. Children are taking pictures of me while I drive on the freeway. I'm on the freeway in the i8. They looking over and I'm like, they parents is like, yo, take the picture, little homie. We get to the mall. They just stop that. I need to be careful on that because Miami get jacked. But they was like, and I ain't gonna lie. If I had that in my life every day, because, hey, bro, I don't care what nobody say. I don't care how immaterial that woman say she is. I don't care how immaterial that woman actually is. You pull up in that i8, bruh, everything changed. Ain't nothing like stepping up your car to change the way the world treats you. It's got to be like growing 8 inches in the summer. Doesn't matter which 8, just 8.
Which is exactly why I don't need that in my life. I got a good streak going, a good long streak going. I'm trying to keep it going, and having a attention grabber car is gonna make the games a little tougher. We unbeaten, man. It's gonna make these games a little bit tougher. I still feel like I will win, but I don't need to challenge myself like that.
Domonique, that reminds me. Once I had the car, they told me to bring it back in like 3 hours, but somewhere along the way, it dawned on me. I got the leverage. I got the car. Right? What they gonna do? Come find me? Like, I got the car. I forget I took that shit like an hour late. I forget what it was. But the first time I noticed this, it was in 2009. I was driving my mama's old Acura, right? She had got a new car and she was gonna get rid of the Acura. And I was like, nah, I'm gonna come get that. You know? So I went down, picked it up, drove back to North Carolina. And so I needed to get it repaired. I took it to the dealership. And so they gave me a loaner. And so they gave me the new AC. And bro, you couldn't have told me nothing, man. I thought I was driving a Batmobile. And I remember I had delayed it out. Like I was supposed to just have it for the day, but something wasn't quite ready. And I was like, well, is it okay if I just come in tomorrow? I'm not really going to be able to make it before you guys close. They're like, sure, you can come in tomorrow. Bro, I took that thing to North Carolina Central for a summer league game. But before that, I went to the Burger King on Austin Avenue. And I just remember watching these girls who had left out before I did. I was there with my homeboy and his girl, okay? Now, his girl was sitting in the front because he was being chivalrous. But in the end, can't nobody tell her who girl that is. Dog, them girls stood in the parking lot and just waited for me to come out. They was waiting, hoping that the dude that was driving this fresh whip was going to give them a little bit of attention. All I'm saying is they go for cars. Every time I get a new car, my mama be like, hey, can you bring the car up here? And I'm like, damn, you too, huh? They this just what it is, man. I don't care. She say she don't care. She a lie. A lie. Lie.
I don't understand what it is, but it's one of them things. It just works. It just works. Yeah. Which is why I will say again, I don't need it.
And that is Domonique Foxworth. Check him out on the Domonique Foxworth Show, where his favorite guest is Bill
My
Barnwell.
Second favorite is Bill Barnwell, too.
I was okay with losing to Ashley. Now that me and her done developed a rapport, you know what I'm saying? I can live with that, you know? Damn.
I mean...
Bill, hold on. You know what, though? It's Jerome in the house. I say Jerome in the
Watch your
house. Yeah. Do you think Bill Barnwell gets that joke?
Everybody watch Martin.
Bill Barnwell's middle name is Jerome, and he's Bill Jerome Barnwell Jr., so I don't understand why he doesn't go by Jerome. But anyway, I brought that up at their live show in Vegas, and it sounded like Bill wanted to holler at me after the show about it. And I'm like, Jerome, I mean, why you want to holler at me, dog? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the coolest you ever sounded.
I think, Bill was, I don't remember him. Yeah, he's not an aggressive guy. I think he just know how to deal with that. You catch a random question about being a Jerome. Jerome's his middle name, right? Yeah.
Yes.
You wouldn't have said that if he went by Jerome. You wouldn't have tried a man. You tried a man named Bill. If he went by Jerome, you'd have been careful.
That's right, because he would have went by Jerry, because that's what they do.
Oh, Jerry Seinfeld. Oh, Jerome Seinfeld.
Jerome Seinfeld. There's another Jerome. Jerome Mr. Richardson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Jerry Richardson is a Jerome. He played football, too.
Yes, he a Jerome, and he a Jerome. Yeah. He a nasty Jerome.
I told you about the time he tried to fight Jerry Jones.
You told me, but you need to tell them.
Oh, yeah, we was in negotiations, and Jerry Jones was not trying to get into specifics. He said, we circumcising a mosquito now, and Jerry Richardson was the head of their little management council, and he didn't like how Jerry Jones was conceding minor points, and he told Jerry Jones, Jerry Jones or Jerry Richardson told Jerry Jones that he needed to shut up. And Jerry Jones said to Jerry Richardson, I'll work you on the inside, you long-armed son of a bitch. And then we all went to caucus on our own. We needed to end the meeting there.
That is such a Texas thing to say to somebody. You long-armed son of a bitch. That is.
You know why that stuck with me? Because it's clearly something he has thought about before. He didn't say I'll fuck you up. He ain't say I'll fight you. He ain't say let's go outside. He said, I've already calculated how I would have to beat you. I will work you on the inside, you long-armed son of a bitch. That's a real threat. That's a real threat.
Check him out on the Domonique Foxworth Show, available with all 5 podcasts are sold. My man, I appreciate you.
Thank you, brother.
All right, now, and ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this 3 times a week. Also, hit our voicemail line, 323-596-7767. In line with what Domonique just told us, the best thing you've ever heard somebody say to indicate that they was ready to fight. 323-596-7767. We do The Right Time 3 times a week. My man Sean Yu handles everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Remember, subscribe, like, follow The Right Time, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater, and we'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.